Hi everybody. I hope you've had a great weekend and I hope you had a good Mother's Day yesterday. Today I'm going to read a story. It's by Tommy DePaula and it is an old story that he has retold and has also done all of the illustrations for. So this story goes back possibly hundreds of years, and Tommy DePaula rewrote it and did the pictures, kind of like Jan Brett did with Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It's a super famous story that everybody knows over time, and she retold it and did the illustrations for it. That's similar to this. This is not as well known a story as Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but the idea is the same. The story is not new. Tommy DePaula didn't make up the story. He's just retelling it and adding his own illustrations. And it also has a bit of a lesson about following directions and listening to people when they have information for you that's really important. It's called Strega, Nona. In a town called Calabria, a long time ago, there lived an old lady everyone called Strega Nona, which meant Grandma Witch. Although all the people in town talked about her in whispers, they all went to see her if they had troubles. Even the priest and the sisters of the convent went because Strega Nona did have a magic touch. She could cure a headache with oil and water and a hairpin. She made special potions for the girls who wanted husbands, and she was very good at getting rid of warts. But Strega Nona was getting old, and she needed someone to help her keep her little house and garden, so she put up a sign in the town square. And Big Anthony, who didn't pay attention, went to see her. "Anthony," said Strega Nona, "you must sweep the house and wash the dishes. You must weed the garden and pick the vegetables. You must feed the goat and milk her. And you must fetch the water." That means get the water. "For this, I'll give you 3 coins and a place to sleep and food to eat." "Oh, grazia," said Big Anthony. "The one thing you must never do," said Strega Nona, "is touch the pasta pot. It is very valuable. I don't let anyone touch it." "Oh, see, yes," said Big Anthony. So remember that. She's pointing to the pasta pot here, and she's saying, you must never touch the pasta pot, which is where she cooks pasta, like spaghetti. And so the days went by. Big Anthony did his work, and Strega Nona met with the people who came to see her for headaches and husbands and warts. Big Anthony had a nice bed to sleep in next to the goat shed, and he had good food to eat. One evening, when Big Anthony was milking the goat, he heard Strega Nona singing. Peeking in the window, he saw Strega Nona standing over the pasta pot. She sang, "Bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me up some pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough pasta to fill me up." And the pasta pot bubbled and boiled and was suddenly filled with steaming hot pasta. And then she sang, enough pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day." "How wonderful," said Big Anthony. "That's a magic pot, for sure." Because all she's doing is singing to it and it's making the pasta for her. And Strega Nona called Big Anthony in for supper. But too bad for Big Anthony because he didn't see Strega Nona blow 3 kisses to the magic pasta pot. So he heard her singing, he saw the pot make the pasta, but he didn't see her blow 3 kisses to the pasta pot. Keep that in your mind. And this is what happened. The next day when Big Anthony went to the town square to fetch the water, he told everyone about the pasta pot. And naturally everyone laughed at him because it sounded so silly. A pot that cooked all by itself. "You better go and confess to the priest, Big Anthony," they said. "Such a lie. And Big Anthony was angry, and that wasn't a very good thing to be. I'll show them, he said to himself. Someday I'll get the pasta pot and make it cook, and then they'll be sorry. And that day came sooner than even Big Anthony would have thought, because 2 days later, Strega Nona said to Big Anthony, Anthony, I must go over to the mountain to the next town to see my friend Strega Amelia. Sweep the house, weed the garden, feed the goat and milk her for your lunch. There are some bread and cheese in the cupboard. And remember, don't touch the pasta pot. Oh, yes, 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 Strega Nona, said Big Anthony. But inside he was thinking, ha, my chance has come. And as soon as Strega Nona was out of sight, Big Anthony went inside, pulled the pasta pot off the shelf, and put it on the floor. Now, let's see if I can remember the words, Big Anthony said to himself, and he sang, bubble, bubble, pasta pot, boil me pasta nice and hot. I'm hungry and it's time to sup. Boil enough pasta to fill me up. And sure enough, the pot bubbled and boiled and began to fill with pasta. Aha, said Big Anthony, and he ran to the town square, jumped on the fountain, and shouted, everyone, get forks and plates and platters and bowls. Pasta for all at Strega Nona's house. Big Anthony had made the pasta pot work. And of course, everyone laughed, but ran home to get forks, plates, and platters and bowls. And sure enough, when they got to Strega Nona's, the pasta pot was so full, it was beginning to overflow. So much pasta is coming out of the pot, it's flowing out of the top of the pot. Big Anthony was a hero. He scooped out pasta, filled the plates and platters and bowls. There was more than enough for all the townspeople, including the priest and the sisters from the convent. And some people came back for 2 and 3 helpings, but the pot was never empty. When all had had their fill, Big Anthony sang, enough, enough, my pasta pot. I have my pasta nice and hot. So simmer down my pot of clay until I'm hungry another day. But alas, he did not know to blow 3 kisses. So he went outside to the applause of the crowd. Applause means clapping. They all clapped and thought he was wonderful. Big Anthony took a bow. He was so busy listening to compliments from everyone that he didn't notice the pasta pot was still bubbling and boiling until a sister from the convent said, oh, Big Anthony, look! And pasta was pouring out of the pot all over the floor of Strega Nona's house. And then it started coming right out the door. Big Anthony rushed in and shouted the magic words again, but the pot kept bubbling. He took the pot off the floor, but pasta kept pouring from it. Big Anthony grabbed a cover and put it on the pot and sat on it, but the pasta raised the cover and Big Anthony as well and spilled on the floor of Strega Nona's house. Look at all that pasta. Stop! Yelled Big Anthony. But the pasta did not stop, and if someone had grabbed poor Big Anthony, the pasta would have covered him up. The pasta had all but filled the little house. Out of the doors, through the windows, everywhere came pasta, and the pot kept right on bubbling. The townspeople began to worry. Do something, Big Anthony, they shouted. Big Anthony sang the magic song again, but without the 3 kisses, it didn't do any good. By this time, the pasta was on its way down the road, and all the people were running to keep ahead of it. We must protect our town from the pasta, shouted the mayor. Get mattresses, tables, doors, anything to make a barricade. But even that didn't work. The pot kept bubbling and the pasta kept coming. We are lost, said the people, and the priest and the sisters in the convent began praying. The pasta will cover our town, they said. And certainly it would have, had Strega Nona not come down the road home from her visit. She didn't have to look twice to know exactly what had happened. She sang the magic song and she blew 3 kisses, and the sputter in the pot showed that it stopped boiling and the pasta came to a halt. Oh, grazia. Thank you, Strega and Nona, the people cried. But then they turned on poor Big Anthony. String him up, the men of the town shouted. They were so angry at this mess that Big Anthony had caused. Now wait, said Strega and Nona. The punishment must fit the crime. And she took a fork from a lady standing nearby and held it out to Big Anthony. All right, Anthony, you wanted pasta from my magic pasta pot, Strega and Nona said, and I wanted to sleep in my little bed tonight, so you better start eating. And he did. Poor Big Anthony. He's got a lot of pasta to eat. And then look at his belly. And Strega Nona was able to go to bed in her own bed that night. So the lesson I think about from that story is when someone who knows something gives you a direction or tells you something, whether you're a kid or a grown-up, it's a good idea to take that direction and to listen, because one of the most powerful ways we learn is through listening. And lots of times it's really important to listen so we can stay safe, or so that we can be sure that things go the way that they need to go. And Big Anthony didn't do such great listening, did he? So he made a couple of mistakes. One is he didn't listen to Strega Nona's directions. And two is, even when he heard her say, don't touch the pot, what did he do? He touched the pot anyway, and he didn't know how to make it stop because he hadn't paid attention to the way that Strega Nona had made it stop before. So, Strega Nona by Tommy DePaula. And then there's a little quick poem by Shel Silverstein. It's called Spaghetti, and it reminds me a lot of the book. It goes like this. Oh, here's the picture. It's quite a lot of spaghetti happening there also. Spaghetti, spaghetti, all over the place, up to my elbows, up to my face, over the carpet, under the chairs, into the hammock and wound round the stairs, filling the bathtub and covering the desk, making the sofa a mad, mushy mess. The party is ruined. I'm terribly worried. The guests have all left, unless they're all buried. I told them, bring presents. I said, throw confetti. I guess they heard wrong, because they all threw spaghetti. What a mess. What a mess. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.